All right. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our 2021 JGI user meeting. It's been a while. In fact, it has been all of 878 days since we last had our meeting, and a heck of a lot has happened during that time. I don't need to tell you that. We've had one global pandemic. We have been very fortunate to receive nearly $200 million in direct funding from DOE. We're very grateful to them for that money. And that included $3 million for new equipment for the JGI and $1 million for a new viral host interactions project, which is very exciting. In a time, we have delivered 855 trillion bases of sequence, 17.5 million bases of synthesized DNA, 16 million bases of DNA constructs, and just in this 1 year, over 10,000 metabolomics samples. We have accepted 209 new user proposals. We've been able to increase our users by 156 new users joining our user base, and have generated in this time almost 500 peer-reviewed publications. We've released a new data portal, a new data policy that we just released last week, and a new workflow system. We've hired 47 new talented people into our organization and launched 2 podcasts and many webinars. So we have been very busy despite all of the challenges that all of us have faced. And I want to just take this opportunity to thank the JGI team for all of their hard work, and for our users as well for doing all they can to keep samples coming our way and to be just great collaborators with the JGI. We have also won User Nobel Prize. So it was my pleasure to host the Secretary of Energy, Jennifer Granholm, and Congresswoman Barbara Lee at our building just a week or so ago, and was joined by Jennifer Doudna, our latest Nobel Prize winner. Okay, so for those that don't know the JGI, let me just very quickly give you a quick snapshot. So we are based in Berkeley, California, at Lawrence Berkeley National Lab. We moved into this brand new building in December of 2019, and we have about 300 staff. We have around 80 million of annual funding from DOE, and our user base now stands at just over 2,000 users. And all of our users are remote. We very rarely have people that we host on site. So our scientific capabilities support the DOE mission areas. We organize these capabilities into our science programs, and our capabilities span a whole range of advanced genomic technologies. And so very quickly, we offer core sequencing capabilities that are both long read and short read. And in the last couple of years, we've invested heavily in the new PacBio Sequel IIe system. And this allows us, of course, to do a lot more of long read sequencing now to augment the short read sequencing that we're doing. More and more, we're investing in these advanced capabilities to do things like stable isotope probing, to do chromatin analysis, to look at genome architecture. And then we've been continuing to build out our capabilities in the functional genomics aspects around synthetic biology, to now include organism engineering, and our metabolomics capabilities that you'll hear very shortly from Trent about. Our strategic plan that we launched in December 2018 is still very much our roadmap to build out the capabilities to serve our user communities with integrative and collaborative genome science. So we have reached the 2-year milestone point now, kind of actually last year. We are about 89% complete of all of those 2-year milestones. And now we're, 3 years into our 5-year milestones, and we're on track to deliver against many of those with about a 40% completion rate already. And 6% of those milestones have been completed already 2 years ahead of schedule. So we continue to have our calls for proposals. So that's our community science program calls. So our next new investigator proposal deadline will be on September 15th. We will then have the functional genomics proposals. Those will be due at the end of January. And the large-scale community science program letters of intent deadline is spring of 2022. And we also have our partnership calls for FICUS with EMSL and hopefully a couple of other user facilities, and that will be spring of 2022 as well. We have continued to really try to get our word out to the scientific community and to enable access to our tools and trainings. And so we've hosted a series of IMG tutorials. We've had a number of engagement webinars on specific topics. We continue to have a newsletter come out, and we're releasing podcasts. We're at 15 episodes of Genome Insider and 14 episodes of the Natural Podcast. We also hosted a really terrific viral ecogenomics and applications seminar series, which was really excellent. A lot of great talks in that. And we shortly will be having our New Lineages of Life symposium that starts up in September 16th and runs for about 5 weeks. And again, this is 2-hour weekly sessions with a whole host of really terrific speakers. Okay, so for the meeting here today, it is wonderful to be able to welcome all of you here. It is great that we're finally able to have a meeting, albeit virtual. I know many of us would like to have done this in person, but we know that right now isn't the best approach to take. So have this virtual. We have about 1,100 people that have registered, so that is just terrific. And for those of you joining us for the first time, welcome. I hope that you learn a lot about JGI and can see where we may be able to support your science. Please note the virtual meeting code of conduct. Be kind and respectful. We have a lot of interactive rooms, lounges, chats. Please follow our photography and social media guidelines. And don't forget to check out the virtual lounges. So JGI, KBase, NMDC staff, we look forward to engaging with you in real time. We have these lounges, and you can refer to the lounge schedule for our programs and for different platforms. And there's even a director's lounge as well. So feel free to pop in and say hi to me when that opens up, I think at 1 o'clock Pacific time. Okay, this is where we're going to actually kick off the scientific programming of the meeting. Our first session is on specialized metabolites, and that will feature, a set of talks from scientists that are working in secondary metabolites and metabolomics. And before we do that, I'm going to give a very quick overview of secondary metabolites at JGI, and then hand over to Trent Northern, who will talk about our metabolomics science and platform. So secondary metabolites, really are central to our mission. They play vital roles in microbial survival, mediate microbe, and microplant interactions, and are also involved in nutrient cycling. And as many of you know, secondary metabolites have found applications in agriculture, health, and food. And we've been working a long time in secondary metabolites across really all of our science programs and genomics technologies departments. But a few years ago, as we were building out our strategic plan, we asked, could there be more things that we could do that really lend themselves to JGI's core capabilities? And so we put together a set of grand challenges that, really based on the state of the field at the time, and identified a number of opportunities for JGI to work on things like expanding the diversity of secondary metabolites, improving prediction tools, doing a lot of work around how to express biosynthetic gene clusters, and then how to apply some of our technologies to functional characterization. And so this has led us to launch and continue new sequencing projects with a focus on secondary metabolite biosynthesis, to develop a new data system, the Secondary Metabolites Collaboratory, which we hope to launch in the next month, and then to really think about ways at which we can develop long fragment assembly, and then to use our CRAGE host expression system to really expand that to hosts that are more relevant for secondary metabolites. And to do this, we have really set up two things. One is we have a new science program that I lead, and our team is working on one side on more of the experimental aspects of secondary metabolites and their regulation, such that we can better understand how to express biosynthetic gene clusters. And then on the other side, is really working on these advanced predictive algorithms for prediction of biosynthetic clusters, as well as a new data system. And we do all this work, with close collaboration with our internal teams, as well as external collaborators that we have established now. And the other approach we're taking is a new initiative that we call the Earth Secondary Metabolome Initiative, or ESME for short. And this is really linking JGI's core capabilities with a focus on secondary metabolites, and really going after those grand challenges in a more integrated fashion, with a view that we may be able to create a one-stop shop that enables our users, our collaborators, to really kind of almost order up biosynthetic gene clusters and the compounds that they express. We have a long way to go, of course, before we're at that point, but we're making really great progress on really sort of building out the core capabilities and beginning to integrate these to try to really realize this vision here. Just a note on some of the key collaborative projects at JGI. We are working closely with Ben Shen and his team at Scripps in Florida to conduct large-scale genome sequencing of a large culture collection, strain collection that Ben has, as well as some projects on some really interesting secondary metabolite biosynthetic gene clusters that he's interested in. We have part of the Tiny Earth project led by Joe Handelsman, where we are sequencing strains that are selected from their crowdsourced efforts, which is really exciting, really great to be part of that project. We're working with Bill Fennicle to do sequencing of some kind of weird and wonderful marine organisms and try to better understand the biosynthesis potential of those organisms. And lastly, we're working with Martin Schming from McGill University to really look at some of these unique non-ribosomal peptide synthase enzymes. I mentioned the natural podcast earlier on, so if you haven't checked this out, this is where we're really bringing leading scientists from the natural products community together to talk about their work and to really learn a lot about where things are going and where JGI could play a role in furthering the advancement of the field. So please check it out if you haven't done already.